The demon spirit land is split into 9 countries, and each country has an ancient demon spirit sealed within. An ancient demon spirit is formed naturally from the heavens and earth and possesses powerful abilities. Once a cultivator fuses with it, their cultivation increases greatly, and they have the chance to learn a powerful spell. According to Lu Yun's memories, every ancient demon spirit is a rare treasure, and after fusing with it, there is a chance of entering a state called beginning of the soul. The so-called beginning of the soul is a very mysterious state. Once a cultivator enters this state, the speed at which they can comprehend the heavens reaches an unimaginable degree. If this was the only thing it offered, it wouldn't be a big deal. The thing that makes every cultivator so crazy about it is that once you enter this state, there is a chance that you can create your own celestial spell based off your domain. Rumor has it that the celestial spells left behind by the celestial realm were created by powerful cultivators when they entered this state. As Wang Lin flew, his eyes lit up. After going through all of Lu Yun's memories, he had a decent idea about this land. It will be very difficult to obtain an ancient demon spirit. According to Lu Yun's memories, even though this place has existed for hundreds of thousands of years and opens up every 5,000 years, the number of cultivators that have managed to obtain an ancient demon spirit is far too low. Rumor has it that in these countless years, only 10 people have actually obtained an ancient demon spirit. The only way to obtain one is to have accomplishments. Each country only has one ancient demon spirit. The spirits aren't controlled by anyone, and they are the symbols of their respective countries. The spirits evolve once every 100,000 years, and if one is merged with someone before it can evolve, it would take 1,000,000 years to form a new one. The rank of each country's ancient demon spirit is different too. For example, the Sky Demon country's ancient demon was just born 100,000 years ago and has the lowest rank. The ancient demon in the 9 extinction country has never been merged ever since it was born, so its strength has reached an unimaginable degree. Only those with a lot of accomplishments have the chance to pray before an ancient demon spirit. Only those who have killed countless people have the chance of becoming one's owner. The ancient demon spirits are very mysterious. No matter how many accomplishments people who are born in this land rack up, they can only pray to them but never fuse with them. Only the foreigners have the right to merge with them. As for the reason for all of this, no one knows. Also, the demonic spiritual energy is the key to fusing with a spirit. If one doesn't have enough demonic spiritual energy, even if they have the chance to merge with a spirit, it won't succeed. As a result, this created the bloodbath that happens every 5,000 years when the foreigners arrive. The foreigners have to kill because by killing, they will be able to absorb all of the demonic spiritual energy the others have gathered. Only by killing others can my competition decrease. Wang Lin revealed a pondering expression as he quickly flew to where the primary souls were. He was moving like a meteor as he flew across the sky and disappeared into the horizon. The reason why Luo Yu knew all of this was because tens of thousands of years ago, a member of his sect came here. Although that person didn't obtain an ancient demon, he managed to make it out of here alive even though there was only 10% chance of living. After he returned to the Heavenly Ghost sect, he immediately recorded his 500 years of experience in the demon spirit land. This is why Lu Yun knew all of this. Now his knowledge made it easier for me. Lu Yun learned from his ancestor that to quickly find one's roots here, they must join a country as soon as possible. This is the only way to obtain military exploits, but more importantly, once you have military exploits, you aren't on your own anymore. You will have demon soldiers and demon commanders at your command. This is the best way to gain an advantage at the start. The closest country is the Sky Demon country. Lu Yun went to the ancient demon city earlier and obtained an entrance token of the demon general of the left wing, but required him to acquire 3 ranks demonic spiritual energy to enter. This place uses ranks to measure demonic spiritual energy. 3 ranks of demonic spiritual energy is equal to the amount of spiritual energy a foundation establishment cultivator needs. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he waved his hand and a crystal appeared in his palm. This was the demon crystal from Lu Yun's Dantian. After checking the crystal, he realized that it contained 2 ranks of demonic spiritual energy. No wonder this Lu Yun wanted to kill me. The demon crystal I absorbed inside the valley just happens to have 1 rank, and adding the 2 ranks here, that would make 3 ranks. However, it ended up benefiting me instead. Wang Lin sneered as he moved very quickly. His divine sense detected that the primary souls were not far away. His body turned into a cloud of green smoke and quickly charged over. However, he suddenly had an idea, and he forced his body out of the green smoke with a pondering expression in his eyes. Wait a minute. In Lu Yun's memories, it said that when fusing with an ancient demon spirit, there is a chance to enter the state called beginning of the soul. This sounds familiar. Beginning of the soul. Beginning of the soul. Wang Lin's body trembled and he suddenly stopped and froze in the sky. His eyes were glowing brightly. If someone looked at him from a distance, they would see his eyes glowing so brightly that they could light up an area more than 10,000 feet away. Sure realm. Could it be the Sure realm? Wang Lin's eyes became even brighter. Ji Dao Sure. Wang Lin's heart beat like crazy. After obtaining the Ji realm, Wang Lin once went on a mad search for information regarding it. The largest harvest was from a cave deep under a plain in the Sea of Devils. There was a large collection of ancient books there, and it was there that he got a detailed description of the Ji realm. When he was looking for information on the Ji realm, he also found information on the other two realms which were just as famous. Dao realm, Sure realm. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he went into deep thought. Beginning of the soul. The three realms are three spiritual energy realms that have existed for a long time. If the Ji realm was able to transform from spiritual energy into divine sense, then the other two realms should be able to change as well. Could the state of beginning of the soul be an effect of the Sure realm turning into divine sense? If Ji realm is death, then the Sure realm is life. If the Sure realm is converted to divine sense, does that mean my divine sense will have endless life and will never die or creation? I cultivate the heavens life and death domain. If I can fuse the Ji realm and Sure realm using the Ji realm as death and Sure realm as life, would that complete my domain? While thinking about this, Wang Lin bitterly smiled and shook his head. It was best not to fantasize too much about it, as it was just too unrealistic. He let out a soft sigh and put it in the back of his mind. It didn't matter if this beginning of the soul was what he thought it was, because right now it had nothing to do with him, and thinking more about it was pointless. Wang Lin's figure moved. With one step he disappeared from the spot. When he reappeared, he was more than 5,000 kilometers away. When Wang Lin's figure appeared in the sky, he was flying over a plain. When he appeared, several ghost-like things flew toward him and circled him. One was a QIAN beast that roared as it moved. Wang Lin's divine sense spread out and focused on a black crack on the ground. This crack was more than 1,000 feet wide. The crack looked like it was created by someone striking with a flying sword from the sky. However, a long time has passed and most of it has closed, so now only a 100-foot gap remained. There was wild grass covering the entire area, so unless one looked very carefully, it was hard to see this crack in the ground. Wang Lin opened his mouth and sucked. The primary souls around him turned into black smoke and were sucked into his body. Then they entered the 1 billion soul flag inside his origin soul. After putting the primary souls away, Wang Lin landed next to the crack and coldly looked at it. According to Lu Yun's memories, the Heavenly Ghost is a unique avatar that only the Heavenly Ghost sect has. These things are born from the void and normally have no form, but the members of the Heavenly Ghost sect use the blood of mortal pregnant women as a lure, the blood of powerful men as a guide, and add a cultivator's nascent soul as a medium. It takes 49 years to summon a Heavenly Ghost. Then they use a secret spell to make it their life-bound Heavenly Ghost. Lu Yun had very high status in the Heavenly Ghost sect. Before he came here, his master gave him the weakest of his 9 life-bound Heavenly Ghosts to protect himself. Lu Yun didn't have much time to refine it, and that's why the Heavenly Ghost betrayed him. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he waved his right hand. 2 strands of gray gas suddenly appeared and began moving between his fingers. He flicked his finger and the 2 strands of gray gas shot out toward the crack on the ground. These 2 strands of gas charged into the crack like 2 raging dragons. The Heavenly Ghost was hiding inside this crack. When he betrayed his master, he suffered a certain amount of consequences, and due to having lost the support of its master's blood essence, it was extremely weak right now. But this kind of weakness was only temporary. If it can last for 7 days, it would no longer need essence blood from its master. If it can last for 49 days, it will completely regain its freedom and return into incorporeal form. After that, it is free to go anywhere in this large world. At this moment, it was hiding inside the crack. Then its eyes suddenly lit up as it showed itself and jumped at one of the strands of gray gas. However, at the moment it jumped, the gray gas suddenly collapsed into specks of light. The ghost was startled and wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Those specks of gray light quickly gathered, and what they were gathering toward was the ghost. In almost an instant, the heavenly ghost was covered in gray gas. The ghost let out an angry roar and quickly backed up. Just at this moment, the other strand of gray gas arrived before the heavenly ghost and suddenly collapsed into specks of gray light. Then it gathered once more with the heavenly ghost as the center. Just like that, in a short period of time, the heavenly ghost was covered in specks of gray light. Wang Lin was standing outside of the crack. At this moment, his eyes lit up, and he reached out with his right hand and said, "Collect." After he said that, there was a series of angry howls from the heavenly ghost. At the same time, a ray of black light charged out of the crack and pounced at Wang Lin. Wang Lin quickly backed up, but the black light chased after him. Wang Lin coldly snorted as he touched his bag of holding with his right hand and took out the soul lasher. He waved the whip, causing the heavenly ghost to let out a painful groan and slow down. The soul lasher specialized in injuring the soul, and the heavenly ghost had no real body, and was the soul of a first-class spirit. The heavenly ghost became even more fierce under the pain. It decided to ignore the pain and charge toward Wang Lin. Its face was extremely fierce and filled with killing intent. The two strands of gray gas moved through its body like needles, and continued to absorb large amounts of the heavenly ghost's life force. But at this moment, the heavenly ghost ignored it completely and charged at Wang Lin. Everywhere the heavenly ghost passed by, the grass withered and turned yellow. It looked very strange. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He stopped moving backwards and waved the soul lasher. With a series of lashings, the heavenly ghost began letting out miserable groans. Finally, it couldn't withstand the pain anymore and turned around to escape. Wang Lin knew that this was the heavenly ghost's weakest moment. Once it escapes and recovers, it will be very troublesome to deal with. After searching Lu Yun's memories, he knew that the heavenly ghost first needed 7 days and then 49 days to recover. He almost didn't hesitate at all as he threw the soul lasher. The soul lasher shot out at the heavenly ghost like a fierce dragon. The heavenly ghost was very vicious. Seeing that it couldn't escape, it turned around and opened its mouth to spit out green fire. A large amount of green fire appeared and surrounded the soul lasher in a sea of green flames. This green fire was the heavenly ghost's life flame and also its most powerful attack. The hatred the ghost had toward Wang Lin was light compared to the hatred he felt toward the whip. What the ghost really hated was the whip. In its eyes, this whip was made especially for dealing with heavenly ghosts. Even if it died, it had to destroy this whip. In its memories, it had only heard of one treasure that was like this, but that treasure has long disappeared from this realm and should no longer exist. It decided that it must destroy this strange treasure that was designed to deal with heavenly ghosts. That's why, even though it was so weak, it still used its life flame. At the moment it spat out its life flame, Wang Lin's expression changed. Wang Lin knew how powerful the heavenly ghost was and was hesitant, but this was the weakest the heavenly ghost will ever be, which is why he came to capture it. But at this moment, when he saw the flame, his heart trembled. Even though he wasn't being hit by it directly, he still felt its power. Instead of burning the body, this flame burned the soul. In almost an instant, he felt a burning pain in his origin soul. Right now he had no time for his heart to ache for the soul lasher, so he quickly retreated. But just at this moment, crackling sounds came from the soul lasher. Then a ray of golden light came from the whip. This golden light only appeared for an instant and then disappeared without a trace. But just that one flash caused Wang Lin's eyes to narrow. With one flash of golden light, the green flames immediately extinguished. They didn't slowly extinguish. It was as if there was a giant hand that smashed down and extinguished them all in an instant. After the flames were extinguished, the heavenly ghost revealed a strange expression as if couldn't believe what just happened. It let out a sharp scream before quickly running away. But it was too late. That flash of golden light not only caused the flames to extinguish, it also made the heavenly ghost's body more transparent. The heavenly ghost let out a terrified scream as it quickly dissipated. Wang Lin moved as fast as lightning and reached out toward the soul lasher. The whip trembled before quickly flying back into Wang Lin's hand. While holding the whip, Wang Lin let out a sigh of relief. The golden light from the whip earlier was simply too strange. He then looked at the heavenly ghost again. If it wasn't for Wang Lin quickly grabbing the whip, the ghost would have already died. Even now it was dying and its body was slowly dissipating. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and took out the soul flag. With one wave of the soul flag, he captured the heavenly ghost, and due to the special environment inside the flag, the heavenly ghost stopped dissipating. After doing all of this, Wang Lin carefully looked at the soul lasher. There was some change to the whip after being burned by the green flame. There were now some pieces of the leather that had curled up and were very sturdy. While examining it, Wang Lin suddenly had a weird feeling. After being burned by the flame, it seemed like a python that was shedding its skin. Only it had just started and was not even close to being done. Shortly after, Wang Lin put the whip away. He then looked into the distance, and after figuring out the right direction, he bolted away. 3 days later, Wang Lin saw the valley in the distance. At this moment, the formation around the valley was giving off a powerful pressure. Wang Lin was very familiar with this pressure. It came from the restriction flag. When Wang Lin left, he took out the restriction flag. With the restriction flag helping the formation, the people of the valley were safe from the waves of demonic spiritual energy. He moved like lightning and quickly arrived outside the valley. With one step, he walked through the formation. He had already broken the formation once, and with the restriction flag inside it, it could be said that Wang Lin could do as he pleased with the formation. At the moment he appeared inside the valley, he saw the people that lived inside. They were listening to Donghua talk at the center of the valley. Donghua immediately saw Wang Lin and revealed a look of joy. He walked past all of the people and bowed to Wang Lin from a distance. "I welcome your return, Supreme Celestial." There was not a hint of disrespect in him at all. He personally saw Wang Lin leave with another foreigner, and now Wang Lin had returned on his own. That could only mean one thing. Wang Lin had killed the other foreigner. In Donghua's view, once two foreigners met, they would be in a life-and-death situation. The deepest part of the valley is a restricted area. Don't go there. After Wang Lin left those words, he disappeared before everyone's eyes and went into the depths of the valley. Donghua revealed a hint of ecstasy. With Supreme Celestial holding down the fort here, their safety was assured. Also, it would make expansion a lot easier. Thinking about this, Donghua revealed a hint of fanaticism. He turned around to look at the villagers and shouted, "No one is allowed to enter the depths of the valley. All of you watch your children well. Don't break the tribal law." The surrounding villagers all nodded, but there were also those with an unhappy expressions. One of them muttered, "Why can't we go there? That is the only cool place in the valley." Donghua stared at the person and shouted, "This is the tribal law. From today onward, that is added to the tribal law, and anyone who breaks it will be kicked out to fend for themselves." With that, everyone who was opposed to it became silent, and no one dared to say anything more about it. Feeling that he had said it a bit too harshly, Donghua coughed and said, "This valley is too small, we should move. Your families should have more women. Our tribe should also get a bit bigger." The surrounding villagers' eyes became red and revealed hints of madness. One of them took a few steps forward and asked, "Elder, are we about to go to war?" Donghua ruthlessly nodded. Wang Lin was sitting in the lotus position in the depths of the valley. The reason Wang Lin decided to stay here was because he had other plans. To stay in the demon spirit land, he needed to have a foothold, strength, and military exploits. He had to go to ancient demon city, but before doing that, he had to make some preparations. There was a certain difficulty to creating his own foothold in ancient demon city. Also, according to Lu Yun's memories, the left-wing general's mansion had many experts. These people were all original inhabitants of this place. Their cultivation was focused on demonic spiritual energy, and so were their spells. Although Wang Lin hadn't met anyone who used demonic spiritual energy, Lu Yun had met them, and Lu Yun's ancestor interacted with people like that for a long period of time. If it was before searching Lu Yun's memories, Wang Lin would have gone to ancient demon city without any hesitation, but now he changed his mind. Instead of going to ancient demon city to join the left-wing general's mansion, I'd rather stay here and teach the inhabitants of this place so that they will listen to my commands. I will teach them spells so that years from now, I'll have a force that belongs to me. Wang Lin revealed a pondering expression which then turned into a determined expression. People who achieve great things don't worry about trivial matters. I'll teach them the soul flag spells. These spells are easy to use and are good for killing. The more one kills, the more souls one can gather, and their strength increases along with it. I can also use this chance to see if I can repair the 1 billion soul flag. If I can repair it, then I won't even have to be afraid of ascendant cultivators. I can definitely become top 10 out of all the cultivators that came in. Only by doing this will I have a chance of getting an ancient demon spirit at the end. While thinking about this, Wang Lin took a deep breath and touched his bag of holding. 2 pieces of jade appeared in his hand. He spread out his divine sense and left behind some chants within them. The soul refining sect had 3 spells: soul refining, soul extraction, and soul sealing. Soul sealing is something only the true disciple of the sect can learn. In fact, the soul sealing spell was made for the 1 billion soul flag. It is the spell to control it. As for soul refining and soul extracting, they are the roots of the soul refining sect. In addition to learning these 2 spells, creating their own soul flags is also an important part of truly becoming a disciple of the soul refining sect. Only after refining a soul flag can they be considered a real soul refining sect disciple. Soul refining is to refine already existing souls, and soul extracting is to extract the soul of a living person. Wang Lin only left the early stage of the soul refining and soul extracting chants inside the jades. Then he pondered a bit and left simple instructions on the production of soul flags. Using this method to create a soul flag would have a fatal flaw that only Wang Lin knew about. It could even be said that with this fatal flaw, he wouldn't even have to refine the person's soul flag to control it like it was his own. Wang Lin was a cautious person, so it was natural that he wouldn't teach someone without any reservation. After he was done with the jades, Wang Lin's divine sense spread out and covered the entire valley. Every villager inside the valley was unknowingly being observed by him. He found that almost all of them had really good talent, much stronger than his body when he started cultivating. While feeling regretful, Wang Lin was also happy. Although there wasn't any spiritual energy here, there was demonic spiritual energy. Maybe by using demonic spiritual energy to cultivate the soul flag, they might gain some benefits. With this idea in mind, Wang Lin's divine sense found Donghua, who was planning attacks on other villages and looking for potential places to live. After sending a message into Donghua's ear, Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense. Not long after, Donghua quickly ran to Wang Lin with a respectful expression. When he was pondering earlier, he suddenly heard Wang Lin's voice. He was startled for a moment and then quickly rushed over. Wang Lin threw the 2 pieces of jade at Donghua. Donghua was startled. He carefully looked at the jades and then became very excited as he asked, "Supreme Celestial, could these be demon jades?" "Demon jade, pretty much." Wang Lin searched through Lu Yun's memories and found that Lu Yun's ancestor had a record the word demon jade. Donghua held the jade and took a deep breath. After looking at it for a long time, his old face turned red. A little embarrassed, he whispered, "Supreme Celestial, I only know that these things record things. I don't know how to read them." Press 1 against your forehead and imagine yourself viewing inside it. If your mind is firm, you will be able to see. If not, try it a few more times. With that, Wang Lin closed his eyes. Donghua took a deep breath as he sat down in the lotus position with the jade pressed against his forehead and tried to imagine viewing the jade. After a while, he revealed a bitter smile. No matter how hard he imagined, he wasn't able to see inside it. Although Wang Lin had his eyes closed, he was still observing Donghua. This person was the elder of this valley because when he went to ancient demon city to study, it was found that he had 1 rank of demonic spiritual energy. Although it was not enough to live inside the city, his status in the village increased greatly. Wang Lin could clearly see a thin, silk-like aura slowly moving in Donghua's dantian. However, this person's meridians were all blocked. Not only was the cycle of that sliver of aura slow, its range of movement was limited. Even so, this aura was able to act as the catalyst for the formation around the valley. With it, he could control the formation and even create a fake body. 1 hour later, Donghua couldn't help but give up. His face was filled with bitterness as he silently shook his head. Wang Lin opened his eyes and they lit up. Then he waved his hand. Donghua exclaimed as he flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin held 2 fingers up from his left hand and suddenly pointed at Donghua's dantian. With one point, Donghua immediately let out a groan. There was a sharp pain coming from his dantian and large beads of sweat fell on the ground from his forehead. Although it was painful, he clenched his teeth. He knew that if Wang Lin wanted to kill him, there was no need to do all of this. If Wang Lin was doing this, it was most likely to help him. Someone of his age would normally be stuck at rank 1 forever, and it would be impossible for him to gain any more ranks of demonic spiritual energy. However, he had a feeling that if he grabbed hold of this chance, breaking through would no longer be just a dream. Wang Lin's finger that was pointed at Donghua's dantian slowly moved up. Every time he moved up half an inch, the pain Donghua felt would increase 1-fold. The sweat from his forehead fell like rain. His entire body trembled violently, and his face was completely pale. Wang Lin's expression was still normal. After raising his finger 3 inches, he calmly looked at Donghua and said, "Endure it." With that, his left hand suddenly rose from 3 inches all the way to Donghua's forehead. A miserable groan came out from Donghua's mouth and echoed across the entire valley. Donghua's eyes rolled back as he fell to the ground and became motionless. Wang Lin didn't look at him but continued to sit there. All of the villagers heard Donghua's miserable groan, but no one dared to go check. The tribal law was like a sword above their heads, so no one dared to break it. Several hours later, Donghua slowly opened his eyes. At the moment he opened them, he was completely stunned. The entire world suddenly seemed different to him. The flowers were still flowers, the grass was still grass, and the wall was still as sturdy as always, but in his eyes everything was different. A feeling of being reborn echoed in Donghua's heart. He couldn't help but let out 2 streams of tears. He didn't need to check if he had reached 2 stars where he can see tiny things. He respectfully knelt down before Wang Lin and kowtowed 3 times. "Thank you, Supreme Celestial." Although he didn't say much, the excitement and shock inside those words couldn't even be expressed in 10,000 words. Wang Lin nodded and said, "Check if you can see what is inside the demon jade." Donghua quickly picked up the jade, placed it on his forehead, and began to imagine. The chant inside the jade quickly imprinted into his memory. Donghua's body trembled as he took a deep breath to contain the excitement in his heart and said, "Junior has seen it." He unconsciously changed how he addressed himself. Wang Lin nodded. Earlier, he used his finger to open a meridian for Donghua by force. This method was simply too tyrannical and would have a lot of consequence in the future, but it was the quickest way to increase his cultivation. Wang Lin looked at Donghua and slowly said, "This chant is called soul refining. Listen carefully because I will only explain it to you once. Once you learn it, you will teach it to the villagers here." Donghua's excitement today was like one powerful wave after another. The increase in his cultivation already made him very excited. After seeing the chant inside the jade, his heart couldn't help but beat rapidly. He had a guess in his heart because he couldn't believe it was true. After all, spells were very rare in the demon spirit land, so there was no way for normal people to obtain them. Donghua took a deep breath and asked in disbelief, "Supreme Celestial, Supreme Celestial, do you mean you will teach me this spell?" Wang Lin's expression remained the same as he nodded and said, "Not just you, I'm going to teach it to all the villagers here." Donghua's body trembled as he respectfully bowed and said, "I, Donghua, will never forget what Supreme Celestial has done." These words came from his heart and were filled with sincerity. It has to be said that things like spells were controlled by very few people. With Donghua's ability, he would never have a chance of learning one, not to mention all the villagers. Wang Lin pointed out the key points of cultivating this spell. Donghua listened like a good student and his gratitude toward Wang Lin became even stronger. After Wang Lin finished speaking, Donghua did his ritual to pay his respects as a disciple and left. Seeing Donghua's actions made Wang Lin feel a bit shocked. However, he had just taught Donghua cultivation, so Donghua doing this ritual wasn't wrong. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, 3 months went by. Donghua was very diligent. He spent all of his time cultivating and studying the soul-refining spell. He even withheld the plans of attacking other villages and focused on studying this spell. His talent was already pretty good, and the soul-refining sex techniques were the easy-to-learn but difficult-to-master type, so after 3 months he had made some progress. Not only him, but all of the males in the village had been cultivating under Ouyanghua's teachings. Each of them had achieved different results. Wang Lin spent all 3 months of time cultivating to study the demon crystals. In 3 months of time he was able to fuse the 2 crystals into one. This demon crystal contained a powerful amount of demonic spiritual energy, and around it were many tentacle-like things that moved around in a strange way. Rank 3 Demon Crystal. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he opened his mouth and devoured the crystal. The crystal went into his dantian. Then waves of demonic spiritual energy came out from the crystal and spread across his body. After allowing the demonic spiritual energy to cycle through his body for a week, Wang Lin's aura began to change. The current him no longer had the ethereal feeling of a celestial. He was now covered in demonic spiritual energy and looked very strange. Even his face was much more demonic, and his eyes would cause anyone's heart to tremble from just looking at them. This was a pair of extremely demonic eyes. His sharp, oval eyes would cause anyone's heart to tremble. Wang Lin raised his right hand. Then he gently closed it and frowned. My body is filled with demonic spiritual energy, but unfortunately, there isn't enough. Even after using it all, I'm only around the foundation establishment stage. With one thought, all of demonic spiritual energy inside his body withdrew into the demon crystal, and not a sliver was released. After the demonic spiritual energy withdrew, celestial spiritual energy quickly moved through Wang Lin's body, giving him an ethereal feeling once more. This demonic spiritual energy is interesting. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. In these 3 months, he walked out of the valley 3 times, and he taught the people cultivating the soul-refining spell each of the 3 times. The people of the valley all knew that this spell came from Wang Lin, and that it was Wang Lin who gave them the chance to learn a spell. All of the fear and misunderstandings about Wang Lin completely disappeared, and were replaced by endless respect and gratitude. All 3 times when Wang Lin came out, every villager who saw him dropped whatever they were doing and greeted him. Among the people that were cultivating the soul-refining spell, aside from Ouyanghuo, who was advancing quickly, there was another person that caught Wang Lin's attention. This person was the young man who Wang Lin followed to find this valley. This young man was very talented in cultivating the soul-refining spell. In just a short 3 months he had already reached the 3rd stage, which was when one should make their own soul flag. TL note: the thing with ranks is kind of awkward. Sometimes it's used as actual ranks, like rank 1 in this case, and sometimes it's used as a unit of measurement, like 3 ranks of demonic spiritual energy. We couldn't think of a good way to keep it all consistent, so we left it the way the author wrote it. Just keep this in mind for future chapters. Wang Lin had already taught Ouyanghuo the method of making the soul flag. However, the demon spirit land was lacking in materials, so making soul flags was going to be difficult. When he realized this, Wang Lin found some time to carefully think up a solution to the matter. He managed to use some of the steel trees, beast skins, and some seals to just barely make something that could imitate the effect. This substitute flag could only seal up to 10 souls, meaning the limit was a 10-soul soul flag. But this object won in terms of quantity because one could use 10 of these flags at the same time. Although it was not as strong as a 100-soul soul flag, it still had half the power. Same as the spells, Wang Lin hid a fatal flaw inside this substitute soul flag, and only he knew about this fatal weakness. After all, Wang Lin was the only person on planet Tianyun that knew the soul-refining sex spells. After imprinting the method of creating the new soul flag on a jade, Wang Lin spread out his divine sense and called over Ouyanghuo and the young man named 13. 13 was the young man Wang Lin secretly followed to find the valley. This person seemed to have natural affinity for the soul-refining sex spells. If Du Tian was still alive, he would definitely be shocked by this. 13 quickly stood before Wang Lin. He only felt respect and amazement toward the Supreme Celestial before him. The more he cultivated the soul-refining spell, the more amazement he felt in his heart. In the 3 months that he had been studying the spell, he came to the conclusion that if he could completely master it, its power would be beyond imagination. 10-soul soul flag. 100 soul flag, 1000 soul flag, 10,000 soul flag. 13 took a deep breath and revealed a hint of excitement in his eyes. Donghua was much more experienced than 13, so he silently stood there with a look of respect. In truth, from the moment everyone began learning the soul-refining spell, the real authority of controlling the village gradually shifted from Donghua to Wang Lin. Almost everyone knew that Wang Lin was the real ruler here. Supreme Celestial, all 27 males in the village have began cultivating the demon spell. Right now, besides 13, most are stuck at the first stage, and there are 6 that haven't even managed to get that far. Wang Lin sat there in the lotus position and nodded. Although the soul-refining spell was easy to learn, it wasn't for everyone. The fact that a large majority of the 27 people here had already reached the first stage would be a shocking news if it happened on Suzaku. After looking at 13, Wang Lin felt very satisfied with how fast this child was cultivating. Noticing Wang Lin's gaze on him, 13's back became straight and the excitement in his eyes became even stronger, and he said, "Supreme Celestial, 13 has already reached the 3rd stage. If I can create the soul flag, I can go out to find soul fragments to seal inside." Wang Lin faintly smiled as his right hand reached out and a jade silently appeared. He threw the jade and smiled. "The new method for making soul flags is in here." 13 caught the jade and revealed an extremely joyous expression. He took a deep breath as he pressed the jade against his forehead and began to imagine like Donghua taught him. Shortly after, his body lightly trembled and his eyes filled with excitement. He looked at Wang Lin and suddenly knelt down to the ground before heavily kowtowing 3 times. Wang Lin closed his eyes and slowly said, "You can leave. Focus all of your effort on creating the soul flag." 13 nodded. Then he put down the jade and respectfully left. Donghua hesitated a bit. He looked at Wang Lin and then looked at the jade on the ground. Without Wang Lin's permission, he wouldn't dare to pick up the jade to check it. Wang Lin slowly said, "Look at it. You have already reached the 3rd stage. If you can successfully make one, your power will increase a lot when you use your demonic spiritual energy to seal a soul fragment." Donghua quickly picked up the jade and pressed it against his forehead. Shortly after, he took a deep breath and respectfully said, "Junior will go look for the materials to make it." With that, he pondered a bit and then said, "Supreme Celestial, once both me and 13 have successfully made soul flags, I plan on attacking a cave 500 kilometers away. There is another tribe there with a few dozen people." Wang Lin's expression remained the same as he said, "Do as you wish." Donghua nodded and quickly left. The news of attacking the cave in 1 month quickly spread across the village. For the members of the village, this was a big battle. Although the other side outnumbered them, thanks to the soul-refining spell, their chances of winning were high. During this 1 month of time, all of the males were full of energy as they cultivated the soul-refining spell. 13 left the village and gathered enough materials to make the soul flag. This child's affinity toward the soul-refining spell showed itself once more. After failing 3 times, he made his first soul flag. This first soul flag caused a big commotion inside the valley. Everyone surrounded 13, and the 7-inch flag in his hand became the focus of everyone's gazes. 13 was very excited to have those gazes on him. Donghua rubbed the beard on his chin and revealed a smile. In truth, he had already made a soul flag a few days before 13, but he didn't reveal it to everyone and allowed 13 to have the chance to shine. Donghua was like a sly old fox, so he naturally noticed that 13 seemed to have caught Supreme Celestial Wang Lin's attention. Adding on the facts that he was getting old and that the future didn't belong to him, it seemed like it will belong to 13. Someone from the crowd asked, "Little 13, the soul flag is only useful once you have sealed a soul fragment inside. When will you go capture a soul fragment to seal inside?" The others all agreed. 13 let out a snort and said, "Who said I haven't sealed a soul fragment inside? All of you look closely." With that, his right hand formed a seal and demonic spiritual energy gathered from all directions to form a green light that flashed at the tip of his finger. He pointed at the soul flag and the flag immediately shook. A ray of black gas suddenly flew out, turning into a wild beast that looked like a lion with wings. Right after the beast appeared, it let out a roar that shocked everyone. Donghua's eyes narrowed, and he was shocked by it. 13 revealed a proud expression as he pointed at the beast and shouted, "Attack!" The lion-like soul fragment revealed a vicious gaze as he charged out and slammed into the wall. There was a loud bang and cracks appeared on the wall. There was not a bit of damage on the lion soul fragment. Waves of exclamations came from the surrounding people, and their looks of admiration made 13 very proud. He accidentally found this flying lion when he entered the forest this time. The beast had received mortal injuries and had just died. 13 clenched his teeth and risked using the soul refining spell. After many tries, he succeeded in refining the soul and sealing it inside the soul flag. 13 took a deep breath as he waved his hand and shouted, "Return!" With that, he waved the soul flag in his hand, but at this moment, the lion soul fragment turned to look at 13 with a vicious gaze. It moved like lightning but not toward the soul flag. It was charging at 13. The viciousness in its eyes had turned into killing intent. 13's expression changed. He held up the soul flag and shouted, "Return!" The lion's soul completely ignored the command as it charged over, and everyone else scattered. Donghua clenched his teeth and charged out. Now there was a 3-inch flag in his hand. With one shake, there was a flash of green light and a small sparrow-like bird flew out and charged toward the lion. As the lion's soul was charging, it suddenly turned around and roared at the small bird. The roar seemed to have a piercing effect, causing the small bird to slow down. Taking this moment, the lion's soul fragment moved like lightning and arrived next to 13. It opened its bloody mouth and tried to devour 13. 13's face was completely pale. He wanted to retreat, but it felt like there was a mysterious force preventing him from moving. He could only watch as the bloody mouth became larger and larger like it was covering the entire world. Just at this moment, a cold snort came out from the valley like lightning. What followed after the cold snort was a voice that was colder than winter. "Damned beast, you dare?" When the voice entered 13's ears, it was as if he was hearing a sound from heaven. He quickly shouted in a voice filled with panic, "Supreme Celestial, save me!" The same voice landed in the lion's ears like raging thunder, causing its body to violently tremble and almost collapse. The reason it didn't collapse was not because it was strong, but because Wang Lin didn't want it to collapse. It completely stopped charging, and without any hesitation, the lion let out a miserable cry before turning around to escape. At this moment, a person walked out from inside the valley. With one step, Wang Lin crossed dozens of feet and appeared in the sky. The lion soul fragment's body trembled. It could feel that there was a power that it couldn't resist at all coming from the person before it. When facing this person, it wasn't able to resist at all. A feeling of terror slowly entered its heart until it completely drowned it. The lion soul fragment let out a pitiful cry. It no longer tried to escape and lie down in a submissive pose. The fear in its eyes was very strong. This scene completely shocked everyone inside the valley. Even Donghua was completely dumbfounded, and his deep sense of respect for Wang Lin grew in his heart. This kind of respect would last for hundreds of years. The excitement in 13's eyes deepened. When he looked at Wang Lin, his heart filled with respect. If the two of them were like this, there was no need to talk about the others. In truth, the reason why the lion soul fragment feared Wang Lin so much was mainly due to the fatal flaw that Wang Lin left on the spell and soul flag. All of the soul fragments sealed by people who learned from Wang Lin's modified spell could be suppressed and controlled by Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he pointed to the air. The lion's figure trembled. Then it turned into a strand of black gas, flew into 13's soul flag and disappeared. This beast is passable as the primary soul for your 10-soul soul flag. However, remember that there are no tricks with the soul refining spell. You were able to seal it, but it was able to reject you. Let this be a lesson for you. After Wang Lin said those words, he turned around and returned to the depths of the valley. 13's face was full of shame as he looked at the flag in his hand and began to ponder. Time quickly passed and 1 month of time quickly went by. All of the males in the village left in the middle of the night. Donghua and 13 were the vanguard as they took everyone directly to the cave. Wang Lin didn't follow and didn't even follow with his divine sense. This was a trial for them, and if they failed, that meant that they weren't qualified and Wang Lin would leave for ancient Demon City to find other opportunities. 5 days later, while Wang Lin was cultivating inside the depths of the valley, he opened his eyes. Soon loud noises could be heard from the distance as a long line of people rushed toward the valley along the winding path. This long line was formed by people not from the village, and their faces were filled with fear. There were males and females among them, and they were all in their prime. Their hands were tied together by rope, and there were 7 people per line. Every line was carrying a log which their hands were bound to as they slowly moved forward. Donghua walked in the front and was covered in blood marks. Although he looked fatigued, there was excitement on his face. The people of the village moved on the side of this line. If any of the prisoners moved too slowly, the villagers would go up and yell at them. 13 walked at the end of the line. His entire aura was completely different from before. He was no longer as proud and seemed much more calm. There was a determined look on his face now. He walked behind the line with several people around him. However, they all kept their distance and had looks of respect in their eyes. It can be said that 13 was able to show off big time during this battle. With him and Donghua working together, they were able to bypass the formation and catch the enemy off guard. The enemy's elder was devoured by the lion 13 summoned right at the start. He then used the soul refining spell right there in front of the enemy to refine the enemy elder's soul and seal it inside the soul flag. At the same time, Donghua wasn't slow either. He quickly refined the souls of the people that died in the battle and sealed them. This scene was a big shock to the enemies. This long line quickly arrived inside the valley. Then all the women immediately took out wooden buckets from their houses like they were very used to this. There was green liquid inside the buckets and it was still bubbling. It gave off a bad smell. Every outsider's head was pressed into a bucket, and they were forced to drink some of this green liquid. After drinking the liquid, they immediately revealed confused expressions. Then some villagers took them away and whispered something into their ears. When Wang Lin's divine sense saw this, he wasn't surprised at all. He had learned from Lu Yun's memories that Lu Yun's ancestor said that the only way for these small tribes to gain more members was to force their captives to drink a bowl of memory-wiping soup. The effect of this soup was to make the person forget everything, and then someone would whisper the person their new name and current situation of the tribe. When that person awakened, they would be a new member of the tribe. There wasn't anything special about this soup in Wang Lin's eyes. It was far inferior to something like a charm spell. If anyone with cultivation drank this soup, it would basically have no effect. Donghua quickly rushed toward Wang Lin. When he was still pretty far, he respectfully bowed and said, "Junior Donghua wishes to greet Supreme Celestial." After receiving Wang Lin's approval, Donghua quickly entered the depths of the valley. From far away, he saw Wang Lin sitting in the lotus position. He arrived before Wang Lin and took out an item. Then he respectfully said, "Supreme Celestial, Junior found the demon crystal from the enemy tribe to give to Supreme Celestial." Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Then he waved his hand and the demon crystal flew from Donghua's hand to his. He carefully looked at this black rock. There was nothing special about this crystal, and it looked rather rough. Wang Lin squeezed his right hand and the black rock immediately shattered, revealing a demon crystal the size of his thumb. Rank 2 demon crystal. Wang Lin looked at the crystal for a short moment before devouring it. Donghua had his head down and remained silent. He had been showing an expression of respect the whole time. After devouring the demon crystal, it quickly fused with the demon crystal inside Wang Lin and became a rank 5 demon crystal. Wang Lin looked at Donghua before slapping his bag of holding and taking out a piece of jade. After sweeping it with his divine sense, he threw it at Donghua and said, "You guys only have the chance for the first 3 stages. Unless one has achievements, they don't get more. You returned with the demon crystal, so I'll give you the 4th stage. Study it well and don't teach it to others, or else I'll definitely take it all back." Donghua suppressed the excitement in his heart. After accepting the jade, he quickly left. After he left, Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he muttered to himself, "It seems like this was the right step. As the village slowly grows and absorbs the surrounding tribes, the amount of demon crystals I will be able to obtain will increase as well. In addition to this, the more people the tribe has, the more people there will be to cultivate the soul refining spell. That means I'll be able to recover the 1 billion soul flags full strength sooner." Right now Wang Lin was raising soul fragments. All of the soul fragments being refined by the people cultivating the soul refining spell could become his with just a thought. There will be a day when the time is right for Wang Lin to collect all of the souls, and the 1 billion soul flag will become whole once more. The population of the village suddenly increased a few-fold. The number of males was now over 50. The females were divided among the villagers, and a few of the beautiful women were gifted to Wang Lin by Donghua, who was greedy for merits. However, he got the cold shoulder this time. Those new tribe members all began to cultivate the soul-refining spell. There was now an air of cultivators in the valley. Aside from the people who went out to hunt every day, everyone else was focused on cultivation. There were even some women who started cultivating. At first Donghua was against this, but after being yelled at by Wang Lin through a message transmission, he quickly changed this attitude and openly supported women cultivating. As a result, everyone in the valley besides the children, no matter whether they were men or women, started to cultivate like crazy. It was easy to start learning the soul refining spell, and adding on the strength of 13 and Donghua, these two soon became everyone's goal. Time silently went by, and in the blink of an eye, half a year passed. During these 6 months, the people of the village went out a lot. They went out in groups or by themselves, all to either make their own soul flags or to kill beasts so that they could refine the souls. Aside from 13, more people reached the 3rd stage in these 6 months and needed to make their soul flags. Everyone knew Wang Lin's rule by now. If they wanted the chance for stages beyond the 3rd stage, they had to gain merits, and there were only 3 ways to do so. The first was to hand over demon crystals, the second was to find clues of foreigners, and the third was to make at least 10 soul flags, and at least 4 of the flags had to have a primary soul inside. If anyone was able to do any of those 3 things, Wang Lin would award them the 4th stage chant. As for the 5th stage chant, the requirements were even more strict. At this point, only Donghua had met the conditions of obtaining the 4th stage chant. Even 13 has only refined 7 soul flags. What was the difficult was the primary souls. As of now, he only had 2 primary souls, and the second one was the elder of the enemy village that he refined half a year ago. As a result, the call for attacking another tribe became louder and louder. Only by attacking other tribes could there be demon crystals, primary souls, and large amounts of soul fragments. It has to be said that Donghua's words came true. Every 5,000 years when the foreigners arrived, they would bring a bloodbath to the demon spirit land. Just because of Wang Lin's arrival, this valley went from a quiet village to one filled with aggression to invade other tribes in order to gain the higher level chants. As the cry for war became louder and louder, a new crusade finally began. This time it didn't matter if it was man or woman. Aside from a few who were left behind to take care of the children, almost every villager left. They weren't all going to attack one place, they were going to split into 3 groups to attack 3 different tribes. This was the only way to satisfy their needs, because if they all attacked the same tribe, there would be no way to split the demon crystals and primary souls. No one in the demon spirit land noticed that there was a force growing in power, because no one would bother to check these tribes in the wasteland. Not even any of the foreigners would decide to stay with the tribes like Wang Lin did. They had all gone to different countries and obtained different positions. In order to get military exploits and an ancient demon, they began a bloodshed that would last for 500 years. The people of the village were extremely well prepared for this attack. Donghua led one group, 13 led the second, and the other villagers who were also at the 3rd stage led the last group. After half a month, only 13's group didn't return. Although there were some casualties, their rewards were very good. However, because 13's group didn't return, there was a dark cloud over everyone's hearts. Only Wang Lin's expression remained normal without any change. 3 days later, a black cloud appeared outside the valley. If one looked closely, they would see that it was a lion with wings. Although there were no injuries on its body, it was very weak. Every now and then it would turn into a black cloud and then form back together. It was on the verge of collapsing. There was a person lying motionlessly on its back, and he was covered in wounds. There was also a very strange-looking red line moving around inside the person like a parasite. The lion primary soul quickly charged toward the valley. As it got closer, several people quickly appeared, took out their soul flags, and fed soul fragments to the lion. This caused the lion's energy to immediately increase. After seeing the lion, Almost everyone immediately recognized that this was 13's lion and that the person on its back, which was clearly 13. After the lion primary soul entered the valley, it let out a cry, then it shattered into specks of black light and was about to completely collapse. Just at this moment, a calm voice echoed in the valley. "Soul condense." With that, the specks of black light shined brightly and quickly condensed back together. In the blink of an eye, it returned back to normal. All of the villagers revealed respectful expressions and opened a path. Wang Lin walked through with his hands behind his back. After the lion primary soul saw Wang Lin, it began to cry as if it had been extremely wronged. Wang Lin's finger reached out, causing the lion to let out a cry of joy and rush toward Wang Lin's finger. Finally, it disappeared on his finger and a lion-shaped mark appeared on his fingertip. The surrounding people were all used to Wang Lin's control over soul fragments, so none of them were shocked at all, and they had their heads down respectfully. Wang Lin walked step by step and arrived next to 13. After he lowered his head to take a look, his expression darkened. He saw a red line moving like a dragon through his body. 13's face was pale and had no breath at all. Wang Lin knelt down and gently pressed his right finger on 13's chest. A sharp cry suddenly came out from the body, and at the same time, a red line charged out from where Wang Lin pressed and shot directly at him. Wang Lin's eyes became cold, and an invisible force appeared around his body. There was a loud bang as if the red line had hit a steel plate, and it was forcefully knocked back. At this moment, Wang Lin moved his hand and caught the red line. With one pull, there was a loud cry, and the red line was pulled out of 13's body. This red line was longer than 10 feet and it moved around like a snake. The other end moved toward Wang Lin but was once more stopped. The coldness in Wang Lin's eyes increased, and the celestial spiritual energy inside his body surged like crazy. He squeezed hard, and after a series of popping sounds, the red line shattered to dust in 3 breaths of time. After the red line disappeared, 13's face slowly became red. Although 13 was still extremely weak, his condition was no longer life-threatening. However, Wang Lin's expression became even darker. He was able immediately see that 13 had been wasted. The 3 stars of demonic spiritual energy 13 had gathered from cultivating the soul refining spell were all gone. If that was only the case, it would be fine, but all of the meridians in his body were shattered and all his soul flags were stolen. The enemy acted so viciously but didn't kill 13. Instead, he let the lion bring 13 back, meaning that that person clearly had other objectives. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he pointed his finger toward 13's forehead. The demon crystal inside his body activated, and a strand of demonic spiritual energy entered 13's forehead. 13's body trembled. Then he suddenly opened his eyes and saw Wang Lin. He wanted to get up to pay his respects, but he found that he couldn't move, and pain washed over his body like ocean waves. 13 struggled to open his mouth. In his current state, he accidentally called out what he always considered Wang Lin in his heart. "Master." Wang Lin's eyes lit up, but he didn't speak. On the way back, we met a large tribe. We tried to go around them, but they still attacked us. There was a white-robed man who took my soul flag and planted that demon inside me. He left me a message saying that if you want the soul flags back, then all you have to do is find him. Wang Lin nodded. Then he raised his finger, and at that moment, 13's body trembled before he passed out again. "Take him to rest." After Wang Lin left those words, he took one step and disappeared. The surrounding tribe members quickly moved 13 away, and there was someone else there to take care of him. After Wang Lin left the valley, he moved like lightning toward the distance. His expression was gloomy and his eyes were cold. 13 originally went out to attack another tribe. If he had failed and died, Wang Lin wouldn't have cared at all. Life and death were all part of life, and as someone who cultivated the life and death domain, Wang Lin was very clear on this. However, this was not the case here. 13 was on his way back when he passed by another tribe and was attacked. The enemy also didn't kill 13 but planted a demon inside his body. If that was it, that would have been fine as lesson, but they also shattered his meridians and even said that if he wanted the soul flags back, he had to go find them. As a result, the meaning had changed. This was taunting, or it could be said to be a challenge letter. 13 became someone's living challenge letter. Since this person sent the challenger letter, Wang Lin wanted to see what kind of person was living in that tribe that dared to challenge him. Wang Lin was very intelligent. If this person's cultivation level was much higher than his, he would just head back to the village, find a way to heal 13, and then just avoid this tribe. Although there was a chance of this, it was very low. From what Wang Lin saw from the spell used on 13, the person was only around the soul formation stage. Thinking about this, he let out a cold snort and moved even faster like a meteor across the sky. The Heavenly Water Tribe lives in a large plain in the northwest side of the Demon Spirit Land. There is flat land surrounding the area, and originally it was not a great place to live, but an ancient formation exists here. This formation is very powerful. When it is activated, everything within 5 kilometers is safe. Even during the night of demonic spirits, it is completely safe inside. The key to survival for a tribe in the Demon Spirit Land is whether or not they can find a formation to protect themselves with. There are many of these formations in the Demon Spirit Land, but there aren't many that can cover 5 kilometers. The larger the area the formation can cover, the stronger the formation. It also means that the tribe that lives here has more room for growth. For example, the valley is only so large, so once the population reaches a certain size, they won't be able to get new people. This formation on the plain is 5 kilometers wide, so more people can live inside. 2 old men were sitting inside a very simple house in the Heavenly Water Tribe. One of them was wearing gray and the other was wearing white. Between them was a purple tea set. The white-robed old man picked up a cup and took a drink. Of all the things the foreigners brought, only this tea suits my tastes. The gray-robed elder picked up a cup and also took a drink. When are you going back? The white-robed old man pondered a bit and said, tomorrow. I can't leave the ancient demon city for too long. I already stayed for a month for a visit home. If I stay any longer, it will be difficult to explain to the general of the left wing. The gray-robed elder nodded and said, you injured someone's disciple and took their strange little flag. If they come knocking, what should I do? The white-robed old man's eyes lit up and he said, what do you mean what you should do? Just use the formation to kill that person. The gray-robed old man frowned and then said in a serious tone, those people weren't simple. Almost all of them had 1 star of demonic spiritual energy and had all learned demonic spells, especially the person leading. With those little flags, he was able to control demon spirits to attack. At first they were going around us, but you became interested in his little flag. Not only did you kill them to take the treasures, but you even let the leader go as a challenge letter to lure the person behind him out. What you did was a bit too much. The white-robed man laughed and said, I'm a guard of honor under the general of the left wing of ancient demon city. How could killing a few savages be considered too much? Also, I deduced that the person behind them isn't strong. Why would that person still be around here in a tribe? He would have already gone to ancient demon city to get a better position if he was powerful. I lured him here because I want to obtain the method of using this small flag from him. If he comes, it will be good. If not, I'll follow the mark I left on the young man and steal it. The gray-robed old man asked, is the chant from the young man's mind fake? The white-robed man's eyes lit up and he said with a dark tone, it isn't fake, but it is not complete. There should be more. The gray-robed old man silently pondered. He didn't have a good opinion of his fellow tribe member who went to ancient demon city and got a position there. Shortly after, just as he was about to open his mouth, the ground started trembling as if there was a giant dragon moving underneath. Then loud rumbling came from the 5-kilometer-wide area of the tribe. The white-robed old man's face sank and then he walked out of the room. There was a person floating in the sky. He was wearing a white robe that was flowing in the wind, and his long hair flowed behind his head, giving off a demonic aura. He was Wang Lin, who came in anger. At this moment, Wang Lin's eyes were cold, and the celestial spiritual energy in his body was surging as he floated in the air. He took one step and a shockwave echoed across the area. The 5-kilometer-wide area below him showed signs of collapsing, and cries of shock and terror came from below. However, at the moment the ground began to collapse, a green ripple appeared from the 5-kilometer-wide area. The ground immediately returned to normal and a powerful force charged directly at Wang Lin. Wang Lin let out a cold snort as he raised his right thumb and pressed it down. He increased the power of the death finger to its peak. This finger caused the surroundings to be covered in a death aura. Even the sky dimmed and showed signs of collapse. His thumb pressed down and collided with the ripple in the sky. The waves of ripples immediately began to curve and move around Wang Lin's finger as he pressed down. It was as if there was suddenly a fork in the river, forcing it to split to two sides. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Break!" With one word, a black light shined from Wang Lin's finger. The ripples immediately collapsed, and this quickly spread until all of the ripples dissipated. Wang Lin floated in the sky and coldly looked at the tribe below him. Everyone within the 5-kilometer-wide area walked out of their houses and raised their heads to look at him in terror. Wang Lin wasn't one to kill indiscriminately. Among these people, 2 of them caught his attention. These 2 were both old men. One was wearing gray and the other was wearing white. At this moment, the gray-robed old man's heart felt very bitter, and he let out a sigh of regret. This time they had messed with a person they shouldn't have. The fact that this person could negate the rebound force from the formation with just one finger meant that his cultivation wasn't weak. As for the white-robed old man, he was in shock. His gaze toward Wang Lin was filled with disbelief. Why would such a powerful person appear in this land of savages? His cultivation level is about the same as the elder in the general's manor. I'm afraid I'm not his match. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he slowly said, "Who sent me the challenge letter? Come out." His voice was calm at the start, but when it descended to the ground, it roared like heavenly thunder in the surrounding 5-kilometer area. The gray-robed old man suddenly turned completely pale, his body swayed back, and he took a few steps back. Then blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth, and the shock in his eyes reached its limit. The white-robed old man was barely able to stand still. He clenched his teeth and shouted, "Who are you?" "I'm the deacon of the general of the left wing in ancient demon city." Wang Lin's cold gaze fell on this person and he coldly said, "It should be you. I can feel the aura of the soul flag on you. You are dead." The white-robed old man's heart trembled as he clenched his teeth and said, "Yes, it was this old man who took those small flags. If you have the skill, then break the formation and take them." Wang Lin coldly looked at the old man and calmly said, "Do you think this formation can stop me?" Wang Lin touched his bag of holding and a giant, heaven-splitting axe that was glowing black appeared in the air. The moment the giant axe appeared, thunderous roars came from the sky, and balls of lightning appeared around the axe. The white-robed old man's pupils suddenly shrank, and the gray-robed old man exclaimed, "Foreigner!" Wang Lin's expression was cold as he grabbed the heaven-splitting axe and swung down at the speed of lightning. A ray of axe energy 100 feet long fell on the formation along with several balls of lightning. There was a bang so loud that even the people in the valley were able to clearly hear it. Wang Lin didn't stop with one swing. He continued to swing the axe down on the formation like a primordial demon war god. The white-robed old man's face was completely pale, and the regret in his heart had reached its limit. Green light flashed violently around the 5-kilometer-wide area. Every time the axe fell, the flashes of green light would negate the axe's power and even absorb some to increase the formation's strength. As a result, it created an endless cycle. This formation wasn't just a little bit stronger than the one around the valley. After enduring for a few breaths of time, the white-robed old man finally let out a breath of relief. His expression gradually returned to normal as he looked at Wang Lin, who was still swinging the axe, and sneered, "How could the formation here break because you say it will break?" The gray-robed old man next to him also let out a sigh of relief. He was very clear on the power of the formation, and right now it seemed like the foreigner was not powerful enough to break it. Wang Lin's expression was still cold. The power of this formation was beyond his expectations. He backed up and he stared at the formation. "I won't be able to break through this formation by force in a short period of time, and even if I used restrictions, it would take a very long time to study it." As if he had seen through Wang Lin's concern, the white-robed old man laughed and said, "Even if you have heavenly spells, this formation is not something you can break. I suggest you quickly leave before you humiliate yourself anymore." Wang Lin coldly looked at the person, revealed a hint of contempt, and coldly said, "Really?" With that, he threw the axe. His target wasn't the formation, it was the edge of the 5-kilometer area the formation covered. The axe moved like lightning and suddenly landed on the edge of the 5-kilometer area, causing a loud bang. Because it was outside the formation, the axe left a deep ravine on the ground like it was cutting through tofu. Wang Lin raised his right hand, pointed at the ground and drew a circle. There were more rumbling sounds as the axe moved underground at a very fast speed under Wang Lin's command. It moved around the formation and dug out a large circle around it. The white-robed old man was startled, as he wasn't sure what this foreigner was doing. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he took a deep breath, raised his hand and shouted, "Rise!" This word was like thunder when it shot out from Wang Lin's mouth. A mysterious power suddenly surrounded the area covered by the formation, and it began to tremble violently. Wang Lin shouted once more, "Rise for me!" The veins on his arm bulged out as he raised his arm. A series of thunderous roars came out from underground like never before. At this moment, a shocking scene unfolded. The area surrounding the formation was dug out from the ground by an invisible hand and was lifted into the air. Waves of dirt and dust were kicked up, and the surrounding area was immediately covered in dirt. When the dirt seemed to have calmed down, it could be seen that the 5-kilometer-wide land was floating several dozen feet off the ground, and a large amount of dirt was falling from it. A giant basin had suddenly appeared on the ground. Earlier, Wang Lin controlled the axe to dig out these 5 kilometers of land. This allowed him to raise this land into the air with a spell. The inhabitants of the village all screamed in fear. They had never seen something like this in their lives, and it was beyond their imagination. The gray-robed old man's body became soft and fell to the ground. His face was completely pale, and the fear in his eyes returned once more. This person is a madman. All foreigners are madmen. He dug the land the formation protected out from the ground. The white-robed old man's body was trembling. He could have never imagined this foreigner would think of something like this. The coldness in Wang Lin's eyes was strong. He couldn't break the formation quickly, but he could refine it. He held the land with his hand before letting out a roar and throwing it into the air. The floating land mass suddenly flew up at a quick speed. Waves of cries of fear echoed once more. Wang Lin's body moved like lightning and he appeared under the land. He held up this 5-kilometer-wide area like a giant and began walking forward. If anyone was around, they would see a mysterious scene they would never forget in their life. They would see a white-robed young man holding a 5-kilometer-wide landmass quickly walking away. His speed was very fast, so after several hours he saw the valley from a distance. The people of the valley quickly came out with Donghua leading the way to greet Wang Lin. However, they were all shocked when they saw the 5-kilometer-wide piece of land Wang Lin was carrying and the green light of the formation that surrounded it. Outside the valley, Wang Lin raised his right hand and the giant landmass flew into the sky. Wang Lin sat outside the valley with extremely cold eyes and spat out the 1 billion soul flag. As the 30-foot-long flag flapped in the air, ghostly howls came out from inside it. Although the 1 billion soul flag no longer had 1 billion souls, it was still the key treasure of the soul refining sect. Because everyone in the valley cultivated the soul refining spell, the moment they saw the 1 billion soul flag, they felt an urge to worship it. Wang Lin grabbed the flag, and with one wave the primary souls flew out. The 6 remaining primary souls, including the XIAN, immediately appeared around the 5-kilometer-wide area. At the same time, Wang Lin spat out essence blood onto the soul flag. The flag immediately expanded and quickly wrapped around the entire 5-kilometer-wide landmass. Refine! Wang Lin's eyes became cold. The 6 primary souls' eyes suddenly released a ghostly light, and they all spat out purple fire. Soon, the 5-kilometer-wide landmass was surrounded by purple flames. These flames were the essence of these 6 primary souls, making them very powerful. As the flames roared, sizzling and popping sounds came from the 5-kilometer-wide piece of land. There were cries of fear mixed in with the sounds of the flames, and after half an incense stick of time, only half of the land remained. This remaining land was completely red. However, with the green light's protection, the flames weren't able to completely refine everything inside. The violent flashes of green light resisted the invasion of the flames, and a stalemate was reached. Wang Lin took one look, stood up, and returned to the valley. Since you want to hide like a turtle, I'll just spend 7 days and 7 nights to refine the formation completely. Then everything will be under my control. The blood of the people of the valley was boiling from seeing the scene outside the valley. and all of them were talking about this. Their respect for Wang Lin reached the limit, and even the children of the village thought of Wang Lin as a deity. After leaving the Formation B, Wang Lin ordered Donghua to send 13 to the depths of the valley. Donghua always followed Wang Lin's orders without question. After bringing 13 to Wang Lin, he respectfully left. 13's face now had a bit of color, but he was still unconscious. It was very easy to save 13, but even if he did, 13 would still be wasted. In this place, a wasted person couldn't survive. 13's body had all of its meridians shattered, so he couldn't absorb any of the demonic spiritual energy here, making him unsuitable to cultivate any of the methods Wang Lin knew. 13 wouldn't be able to cultivate unless the meridians in his body could regrow. However, Wang Lin wasn't able to do this. Only those heaven-defying pills could achieve such a result. After pondering for a while, his eyes lit up. There was one thing that 13 could cultivate among all of the methods Wang Lin knew. However, this matter was very important, and Wang Lin began to show a bit of hesitation, something that he rarely ever showed. A cultivator's body is like the sea, and their meridians are like thousands of rivers. The body itself is its own world. One starts from within the body to experience life, and he uses this body to seek Tao. An ancient god's skin and flesh are the sky, and his bones are the earth. His soul devours the spiritual energy of the heavens and earth to refine the body. He uses the strength of his body to break all Tao hearts, and uses his soul to draw his own Tao in the heavens. Wang Lin pondered. If he taught 13 the ancient god's cultivation method, it should be able to completely change 13 from a waste to a powerful person. However, this wasn't guaranteed, as 13's body wasn't as good as Wang Lin's original body, so he might not be able to successfully cultivate it. If he fails to cultivate the method of the ancient gods, he will die because his body will collapse from the crazy amount of demonic spiritual energy that will enter it. Also, an ancient god devours spiritual energy and celestial spiritual energy. Wang Lin wasn't sure if it could devour this demonic spiritual energy. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin shook his head and no longer thought about this. The celestial spiritual energy in his body disappeared, and the demon crystal released demonic spiritual energy. At this moment, he returned to the state where he gave off a demonic aura. He moved his finger like lightning and pressed it against 13's forehead. Demonic spiritual energy entered 13's body and turned into specks of golden light. Wang Lin raised his right hand and closed his eyes to cultivate. Half an incense stick of time later, 13 slowly opened his eyes. He looked at the sky above the valley and remained silent. After a long time, he got up and knelt before Wang Lin with an expression of pain. This pain wasn't from his body but from his heart. At the moment he woke up, he immediately understood that there was not a trace of demonic spiritual energy inside his body. The current him was even weaker than before he started to cultivate. Wang Lin still hadn't opened his eyes. 13 knelt for a long time before kowtowing 3 times. Then he left without even turning his head once. It wasn't until he left that Wang Lin opened his eyes and let out a sigh. Among all these people, 13 had the best talent, and he had great comprehension regarding the soul flag. If it wasn't for this, he would have definitely achieved greatness in the future. 13 returned to his own house. He was one of the few people in the valley without a wife and children, so he was the only person who lived in this house. There wasn't any aura of a young man on him, only the aura of an old man entering the final days of his life. After a long time, he sat in the lotus position and tried to cultivate the soul-refining spell. However, every time he tried, waves of pain came from his body. This kind of pain was not something a normal person could withstand. However, he withstood it. When he failed, he tried again and continued to withstand the unimaginable pain. After trying to cultivate a few times, his body was soaked in sweat. The veins on his body were all bulging from the pain, and a hint of despair appeared in 13's eyes. "I'm not willing to give up." He took a deep breath and continued to cultivate while enduring the pain. This time, just as he absorbed demonic spiritual energy, he felt as if his body was hit by a giant mountain, causing him to cough out blood and pass out. The 5-kilometer-wide land outside the valley was still being refined by the flames, and the green light protecting the land was slowly dimming. Inside the 5-kilometer-wide area, everyone was filled with despair as the shadow of death loomed over them. They watched the flame outside grow larger and larger, burning out all the hope in their hearts. The gray-robed old man closed his eyes in despair. When he opened them, they were glowing. He suddenly turned around to look at the white-robed old man, who was also terrified, and said, "This is a disaster you brought upon yourself, and you dragged the entire tribe down with you." The white-robed old man's body trembled and he remained silent. "That foreigner is not someone we can fight against. If you continue to be stubborn, then when the formation breaks, it won't just be you and me, the entire tribe will be burned to death by the flames. As a member of the tribe, how can you sit and watch the entire tribe die before you?" The white-robed old man bitterly said. "You mean?" The gray-robed old man said in a serious tone, "You made the mistake, so you must take responsibility for it. This is the only way for our tribe to survive. Don't worry. If you die, I'll definitely think of a way to get revenge for you. In addition, once we are free, I'll immediately go to Ancient Demon City and report your matter to the General of the Left Wing. I believe the General of the Left Wing will be interested in this." The white-robed old man remained silent for a long time. He looked around with a complicated expression, and his gaze landed on the other tribe members. When he saw the fear on their faces, he took a deep breath and floated to the edge of the formation. "The challenge letter was sent by me. Come and fight me if you dare. After the battle, no matter whether I win or lose, don't drag the innocent in." The white-robed old man's voice went through the formation to the outside and directly into the valley. Wang Lin opened his eyes, and with a sway of his body he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was outside the valley, and when he looked coldly at the 5-kilometer-wide area, he saw the white-robed old man. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the 6 primary souls stopped spewing flames and circled around him. Without the flames invading, the white-robed old man clenched his teeth and walked out. He raised his hand and 2 strands of demonic spiritual energy started moving between his fingers, and he said to Wang Lin, "Let's battle. You aren't qualified." Wang Lin's hand reached out, causing the white-robed man's expression to suddenly change. The 2 strands of demonic spiritual energy around his fingers were suddenly extinguished. At the same time, the old man's body flew helplessly toward Wang Lin. Almost an instant later, Wang Lin was holding the old man by the neck. When the white-robed man was about to struggle, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he used a large amount of force. With a crack, the old man's eyes bulged and he died. Wang Lin's celestial spiritual energy surged into the old man's body to trap the soul. Then the old man's soul was sealed inside the 1 billion soul flag as one of the soul fragments. After doing all of this, he threw the old man's body behind him. One of the primary souls immediately spat out a flame that burned the body into dust. Wang Lin reached out with his hand and the 5-kilometer-wide land was moved by him to the area next to the valley, creating waves of dust. "Open the formation." Wang Lin's gaze was cold as he looked at the 5-kilometer-wide area that had been refined to the verge of collapsing. The gray-robed old man's body trembled. He didn't think that Wang Lin would kill the white-robed old man so easily. This kind of cultivation was several times stronger than what he previously thought. He immediately threw away the idea of revenge and didn't dare to anger someone this powerful. At this moment, whether he opened the formation or not didn't matter. He let out a sigh and drew a symbol with his hand. With this symbol, the formation protecting the area disappeared. Donghua, add new tribe members. After leaving these words, Wang Lin disappeared into the depths of the valley. All of the people from the 5-kilometer-wide area were absorbed into the tribe inside the valley. Even the gray-robed old man accepted this and didn't raise any thoughts of resisting. Even more people began to study the soul-refining spell, and the gray-robed old man was very interested in it. The tribe's size increased greatly. Adding on the people that were just captured, the number of males in the tribe had increased to over 500. This could be considered a mid-sized tribe among the tribes around here. With so many people gathered in one spot, it became rather cramped inside and outside the valley, so Wang Lin placed down a new formation. This formation had restrictions as its base and included the power of the valley and the 5-kilometer formation. This new formation's protection area was about 10 kilometers wide, and thus solved the problem of space. Every new tribe needed a name. After Donghua asked many times, Wang Lin named it the Soul Refining Tribe. The center of this new 10-kilometer wide area was the valley. Everyone had moved out of the valley, and the valley was made into a restricted area that only Wang Lin could center. Unless they were called by Wang Lin, no one was allowed to enter. In addition to this, there were members of the soul refining tribe standing at the entrance like guards. This valley became the symbol of the highest power in the tribe. Wang Lin, the one who lived there, was revered by everyone in the soul refining tribe. Wang Lin's rules still hadn't changed. There were still only 3 methods to obtaining the chance after stage 3. Everyone in the soul refining tribe was spending all their time cultivating. Aside from the people on patrol, there was almost no one outside because everyone was cultivating inside their houses. The soul refining tribe was completely different from all the other tribes in Demon Spirit Land. It looked more like a newly born cultivation sect. Wang Lin's life became very peaceful, as he was the only person living inside the valley. All of the houses that were here before were removed by Wang Lin, and now this place was almost like the celestial realm. In this celestial realm-like place, Wang Lin personally built a wooden house. This wooden house was very simple, but there was great Tao within this simplicity. If a cultivator were to pass by, they would notice that although the size of each piece of wood was different, there was no difference in their weight. This wooden house was where Wang Lin lived. He sat in the lotus position inside the wooden house and silently cultivated. What he absorbed wasn't celestial spiritual energy, but demonic spiritual energy. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye winter came. The winter here wasn't any different from outside. White snowflakes fell from the sky and the entire world became white. Wang Lin opened his eyes from his cultivation. When he walked out from the wooden house, he saw snow falling from the sky. He silently watched the snow fall and was completely immersed in it. Shortly after, Wang Lin raised his head and muttered to himself, 2 years now. He had been in the Demon Spirit Land for almost 2 years. Once winter passes, it will be exactly 2 years. He raised his right hand and caught a snowflake. As the snowflake landed on his hand, a hint of coldness came from the snow before it melted in his hand, and a sliver of demonic spiritual energy entered his palm. Everything in the Demon Spirit Land contains demonic spiritual energy. Wang Lin took a deep breath before sitting down and closing his eyes. Snowflakes slowly fell and landed on his body. The amount of snow falling gradually increased, and several hours later, Wang Lin turned into a snowman. He didn't move at all as he absorbed the demonic spiritual energy inside the snowflakes. The demon crystal in his body had risen from rank 5 to rank 34. The higher the rank, the harder it is level it up. Rank 3 is the same as foundation establishment, and 10 times that is core formation, and the next step is 10 times more. The reason Wang Lin decided to absorb demonic spiritual energy was because it could be fused with celestial spiritual energy, meaning it could increase celestial spiritual energy. Although he had the 100 years worth of celestial jades, those were barely enough to get him to the late stage of soul transformation, and the amount needed to reach the ascendant stage was beyond imagination. Therefore, if he wanted to raise his cultivation level, he would have to find other shortcuts. Changing demonic spiritual energy into celestial spiritual energy was one of the methods Wang Lin thought of. If Wang Lin could think of this, then others could think of it as well. Right now it all depended on who could absorb more demonic spiritual energy. In Wang Lin's eyes, demonic spiritual energy was an alternative to celestial jades, because it could help increase his cultivation level. In these 2 years of time, the soul refining tribe continued to rise. As the need for the next chant increased more and more, people left the valley to train themselves. In addition to this, every month there would be teams that returned from attacking a smaller tribe. They would come back with captives and varying amounts of demon crystals. It is worth mentioning that the formations used to defend against the foreigners had almost no effect on the natives. The formations seemed to be built for defending against the night of demon spirits and keeping foreigners outside. As time passed, the soul refining tribe's population continued to increase, and even the 10-kilometer wide area seemed to not be enough. As a result, there was a need to expand the formation once more. Wang Lin used 3 days of time to study it, and then increased the formation by another 10 kilometers. Now that the tribe had 20 kilometers of territory, it could be considered one of the most powerful tribes within several tens of thousands of kilometers. The increase in tribe members caused an increase in the amount of people that cultivated the soul refining spell. Wang Lin knew that the soul fragments in the soul flags needed to be nurtured many times for them to reach their full power. Instead of teaching these people how to nurture them, he opted to use the 1 billion soul flag to nurture the soul fragments. The soul flag expanded and then surrounded the sky of the 20-kilometer wide area in black clouds. The moment the black clouds appeared, they immediately shocked everyone in the soul refining tribe. Many tribe members rushed outside, and some of the more powerful people surrounded themselves in their soul flags in an attempt to fly up to see what was going on. Release your soul fragments into the black clouds for a fixed amount of time every day. Doing so will make the soul fragments even stronger. Wang Lin's voice echoed in the 20-kilometer wide area. The moment his voice was heard, every single tribe member knelt down on the ground. Their faces were filled with respect, and they were kneeling toward the valley Wang Lin was in. After the black cloud appeared, the soul fragments from the tribesmen were howling and moving within the black cloud all day long. The people of the soul refining tribe got used to releasing their soul fragments to be nurtured inside the black cloud, and the black cloud became the unique symbol of the soul refining tribe. Inside the soul refining tribe, not everyone was cultivating the soul refining spell. Some of them couldn't cultivate at all, so they could only be hunters to provide food for everyone. 13 was one of the hunters. After his cultivation was wasted, he never said another word. It was like he was mute. There was no longer any spirit in his body. It was as if he was just a moving corpse. Only late at night during his countless attempts to cultivate was there an emotion on his face. However, that emotion was endless pain and unwillingness. He refused to accept this. There were many people in the tribe that were at the 4th stage now, and there were many people with more than 10 soul flags. Many new geniuses had popped up and replaced 13 as the most powerful people under Donghua. All of this was constantly stabbing at his heart. It was because of this that whenever he went out to hunt, he would fight without a care for his life. As a result, he almost died many times. If it wasn't for having his tribe members there to help, he would have already died. Some of the people that looked out for him knew of 13's original position in the tribe. When they saw him like this, they could only sigh in their hearts. On this day, Wang Lin was looking at a piece of wood in his hand. The piece of wood was completely black and gave off waves of demonic light. When one of the tribe members attacked a small tribe, they didn't find any demon crystals. However, one tribe member found this piece of wood at the worship location of the enemy tribe, so he brought it back and gave it to Wang Lin. As he looked at it, he suddenly raised his head to look outside the valley, where he saw Donghua's old figure. Junior has a matter to discuss and wishes to speak with Ancestor. The title of Ancestor came from everyone in the tribe. Since Wang Lin didn't refuse, it could be said that he silently agreed. Come in. Wang Lin lowered his head to look at the piece of wood. Donghua entered the valley. He was holding someone in his arms. This person was covered in blood, and his face was extremely pale. After quickly arriving next to Wang Lin, Donghua put the body to the side, knelt on the ground and said, Ancestor, when 13 was hunting, he met a rare demonic beast. By the time this old man noticed and rushed over, it was too late. For all living things inside the demon spirit land, once they gather enough demonic spiritual energy, they undergo a demonic change and their strength increases greatly. Wang Lin put down the piece of wood in his hand and raised his head to look at 13. 13 looked a lot older than he did 1 year ago. Looking at him now, he didn't look like a young man but an old man in his dying years. Wang Lin said in a serious tone, You can leave. Donghua got up and respectfully left. After leaving the valley, he let out a sigh as he looked back at the valley and muttered, 13, it will all depend on your luck. Wang Lin looked at 13 and began to ponder. Wang Lin's right hand reached out, causing 13's body to float up before him. He pointed at 13's forehead, and then a strand of demonic spiritual energy entered 13's body. Wang Lin's expression became serious. 1 year ago, he made the assessment that all of 13's meridians had been shattered, and that he could no longer cultivate. However, right now he found something very mysterious. Although 13's meridians were still shattered like they were 1 year ago, and some of them had even shrunk, for some reason there was a large amount of demonic spiritual energy stored up in his body. This demonic spiritual energy wasn't inside his meridians, but inside his flesh and bones. If this continued, 13th's body would naturally enter a body refining stage. However, this person didn't understand the body refining technique, so a lot of demonic spiritual energy was wasted. 13 also didn't know how to cycle the demonic spiritual energy, so even if he walked the path of body refining, he wouldn't be able to get far before his body becomes rigid and he dies. Strange. 1 year ago, 13th's body had no demonic spiritual energy, but now he has already reached 2 stars. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He knew from Lu Yun's memories that 3 stars was 1 rank, and 3 ranks was the same as a foundation establishment cultivator. He raised his right hand and sat down. After a while, his eyes lit up, and his origin soul flew out and entered 13th's forehead. Comparing 13 and Wang Lin's souls was like comparing a firefly to the sun. Wang Lin easily saw 13th's memories of the last year. Wang Lin saw 13 withstand pain that normal people could not withstand, and he was experiencing this pain every night. He was withstanding the pain of trying to absorb demonic spiritual energy when all his meridians were shattered. Then the pain of the demonic spiritual energy would enter his flesh. The pain was like millions of small insects eating away at his body. He withstood this kind of pain for over a year and never stopped once. All of this was because he wasn't willing to give up. He wanted to become strong, and he wanted Wang Lin to gaze at him once more. Wang Lin withdrew his origin soul. He was moved by this. His eyes became very serious as he stared at the floating 13. 13's determination earned Wang Lin's goodwill, but the only way for 13 to recover was the ancient god tactic, and that wasn't something Wang Lin would give to someone else so easily. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin pointed at 13's chest and inserted some demonic spiritual energy. This caused 13 to open his mouth, and Wang Lin threw a pill inside it. After helping 13 absorb the pill, Wang Lin sat back down. 13's body slowly landed on the ground. After 1 incense stick of time, 13 began to cough violently, and when he finally got up, he coughed out a large mouthful of black blood. After coughing out the blood, his entire body felt lighter. It wasn't until now that he noticed that he was inside the valley. He was very smart, so he immediately noticed Wang Lin before him. This made him feel very excited. As soon as he noticed, he got up, knelt down, and was very respectful the entire time. 13 greets ancestor. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he looked at 13 and shouted, "How did you obtain the demonic spiritual energy in your body?" 13's body trembled. He respected Wang Lin a lot, so he quickly told Wang Lin what he had done in this past year. What he said was exactly the same as the memories Wang Lin saw, and he didn't hide anything. Wang Lin secretly nodded, but his expression was still normal as he slowly said, 13. All of that demonic spiritual energy in your body is useless without your meridians to cycle it. Once you collect too much demonic spiritual energy inside your body, you will die for sure. 13's face was pale and he let out a pitiful smile. He took a deep breath and said, "Ancestor, 13 doesn't want to become a useless person. 13 knew that collecting demonic spiritual energy in my body was probably not a good idea. However, it was the only way for me to feel like I wasn't worthless. I have demonic spiritual energy like everyone else." In the end, 13's voice lowered and he clenched his fist. Wang Lin looked at 13, and after a long time he said, "I have a cultivation method that can allow you to transfer the demonic spiritual energy inside your body into your flesh. It will then increase your body's strength to an unimaginable degree. Although you won't be able to use any spells, your body will become stronger and stronger. This is the body refining method. Are you willing to learn?" 13's body trembled violently. His face was filled with joy. He didn't hesitate and quickly nodded. "Don't agree too quickly. Cultivating this body refining method is very difficult and very dangerous. If you mess up, even I might not be able to save you. Cultivating the body refining method is also very painful. Can you withstand it?" "Ancestor, 13 will definitely not let you down." 13 looked at Wang Lin with never-before-seen determination. Wang Lin pondered a bit and then touched his bag of holding. He took out a piece of jade, pressed it against his forehead, imprinted information on it, and threw it at 13. "You have demonic spiritual energy inside your body, so you should be able to see inside it." When 13 accepted the jade, the excitement in his heart was indescribable. He kowtowed several times before leaving. It wasn't until 13 left that Wang Lin let out a sigh. In the end, he still didn't give 13 the ancient god tactic. Instead, he organized what he knew of the giant demon clan and gave it to him. If he can complete the giant demon clan's body refining method, I'll teach him the first stage of the ancient god tactic. If he can't, then it just means he is not destined to learn the ancient god tactic. In the blink of an eye, 2 more years passed. In these 2 years, the soul refining tribe grew like crazy. The size of the tribe continued to increase from 20 kilometers. Now it was about 150 kilometers wide, and the tribe had more than 5,000 males. Within a 50,000 kilometer area, aside from the 2 tribes with 10,000 members, all the other ones were devoured by the soul refining tribe. In these 2 years, Wang Lin acted 3 times because some of the enemy tribes had someone powerful. However, in the wasteland, no matter how strong they were no match for Wang Lin. It has to be said that Wang Lin's plan of starting his own force in this wilderness was paying off. Right now he commanded a force of 5,000 people who knew the soul refining spell. Although they weren't that powerful individually, they packed a huge punch when they all released their soul fragments together. If enough time passes by for them to grow, Wang Lin will control a very powerful force. A stalemate between the 3 tribes within this 50,000 kilometer area occurred. Originally, Donghua wanted to attack one of the big tribes, but he was stopped by Wang Lin. He wanted the tribe members to give up attacking others and focus on cultivating. Wang Lin's words were divine to the people of the tribe. A thing worth mentioning was 13. This child's perseverance was amazing, and he was able to learn a bit of the giant demon clan's body refining method. His body was as tough as iron, and during battle he would always charge in the front. No one could stop him. In 4 years of time, Wang Lin turned a small tribe in a valley into a large tribe with over 5,000 people. Wang Lin ordered all of them to focus on cultivation because he had other plans. He decided to leave the tribe for a bit. His target was ancient Demon City. 4 years ago, Wang Lin had the chance to go, but he didn't go because him back then didn't have a force of his own. Even if he had gone, it would have been pointless. After 4 years, Wang Lin could finally go to ancient Demon City without any worries. Even if he couldn't get a foothold in ancient Demon City, he would still have the ability to turn the situation for the better. To make it easier to communicate, he spent half a month making 2 voice transmission jades. He kept one with him and left the other one inside the soul refining tribe. If it wasn't for the fact that he lacked materials, he would have placed a transfer array inside the soul refining tribe. That way, he would be able to return in an instant. Wang Lin wasn't going to leave by himself this time. There would be 2 youths following him, and one of them was 13. The other person was called Huapao. He was from a small tribe and had already awakened his demonic spiritual energy. He had 2 stars of demonic spiritual energy when he joined and was the #1 expert from that small tribe. Donghua personally captured this person and forced him to drink the memory wiping soup. Then this person became a member of the soul refining tribe. This person was very talented in cultivation. With his starting point of 2 stars of demonic spiritual energy, he soon surpassed everyone and was closing in on Donghua. Right now he had already reached the 5th stage, and he had 97 soul flags along with 31 primary souls. His current strength was not that different from a core formation cultivator. Wang Lin saw a genius in this person. Although the soul refining spell was easy to learn, to reach the core formation stage in just a mere 4 years was something Wang Lin never expected. One of the big reasons for this was because this person already had 2 stars of demonic spiritual energy. It also had a lot to do with the demonic spiritual energy in this land, but it was the first time Wang Lin had seen someone with talent like Huapao. If he could reach the soul formation stage in 100 years, he would catch up to Red Butterfly in terms of talent. In fact, he would be ahead above Red Butterfly. Wang Lin cared a lot about talent like this, so he decided to keep him around to make him easier to control rather than leaving him in the tribe. The youth named Huapao's respect for Wang Lin wasn't any weaker than 13. When he heard that the ancestor would take him outside, he was very excited. As for 13, the strength of his body had reached a shocking degree. Even if he were to fight Huapao, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. This had a lot to do with his determination and effort. After obtaining the body refining method, he spent many days and nights cultivating. In terms of seriousness toward cultivation, he was number one in the tribe. On this morning, at the moment the sun rose into the sky, Wang Lin walked out of the soul refining tribe. Hu Pao and 13 followed him like guards.